Good afternoon, everyone. Fellow Toastmaster, dear guest. You might be thinking, who is this guy? So apparently, while you would be playing games in your childhood, there would be one person who will, gather everyone and will say, let's start, or let's get started, and who will be the first player, or, this is the time to start now. So the same role I'm playing today. I am Rishabh Gupta. I'm the Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. I welcome you all to the first linker meeting of AWSP's Bangalore Toastmaster Club and the Orators in the Cloud Club. Here, before things, I just want to mention 3 ground rules which we follow Toastmaster meetings. As Toastmasters, we don't talk about religion and politics. So please refrain from discussing these topics. Please keep yourself on mute if you're not speaking, and keep the videos on whenever the meeting is active, so that we all have a full-fledged interactive virtual experience. That's it. And just to add, a few more things, as everybody in their life has a mission to achieve their goals, likewise, Toastmaster clubs have missions. So the mission of our Toastmaster club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. With this, I would be handing the stage over to none other than the President of Toastmaster Club, Toastmaster Hind. Over to you. And just one, guys, don't forget to applause when each time you like the speech and when we are transitioning to the role. So over to Hind.
Thank you, Rishabh. Good afternoon and good evening, people from Dublin and India. It is so amazing, I believe, that Rishabh's internet was absolutely fine until the meeting started. And right when the meeting started, it became choppy. How? And then we say that there is nothing called luck. There's absolutely something called luck. Getting to the topic of my own meeting today, because I'm not talking about the topic of our TMoD. In the morning when I woke up, I went through Twitter and Google News while eating my breakfast. And I came across this tweet by Elon Musk. That's the guy who's generating the most amount of Twitter activity these days, in my opinion. The tweet was called Tesla and Bitcoin. Now, to give a little bit of history about this, Tesla, the electric car maker, recently, just a few months ago, started accepting Bitcoin, the hottest cryptocurrency, as a form of payment. In today's tweet, Elon Musk said that Tesla would stop doing that. Tesla would stop doing that because cryptocurrency, and especially Bitcoin, it requires a lot of computational mining, and that's a very power-hungry process. And because it's a power-hungry process, it stands in opposition to what Tesla stands for, which is sustainability and efficiency. So Elon Musk said that we will stop accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment. This tweet of his was immediately followed by a barrage of other tweets, some of which went like, I cannot believe that the CEO of a $500 billion company did not know this a few months ago. And there were a number of other tweets to this tune. Without taking an actual stand on the topic of Tesla and Bitcoin, I want to say that I have a serious problem with the ethos of our social media world that we have created for ourselves, where we do not allow people to make mistakes. We believe on social media that everyone has to be perfect. And there's a term for this, it's called cancel culture. If somebody has made a mistake and somebody has posted something that's not ideal, we cancel them. We make them enemies. That's definitely not the way forward. That's definitely not the way to improve and grow. And that's exactly something that we do not do in the Toastmasters. You want to make a mistake, you do make a mistake. We'll let you know that you have made a mistake. And even if you're in L5P1 and you have used an CRPF words, trust me, people will just tell you that you use a CRPF words. Nobody will come to you and say, I cannot believe that an L5P1 used a CRPF word. With that, I would like to first of all welcome our guest, Shashan Gupta. Welcome to your very first Toastmasters meeting, at least in this club. And I'd like to welcome back Toastmaster Abhijit, who we have seen after a very long time. It is very great to see you, Abhijit. And now I'll hand over the stage to our TMoD of the day, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Srinivasan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hind. Good morning and good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I am Srinivasan and I will be the Toastmaster of the day. My job today is to stitch the different logical sections of the meeting and ensure that all of us have a fun time. The theme of today's meeting is Games, the Untold Story. I am sure you would have heard a part of the title somewhere, which you would love. Games. How many of you have played some fascinating games in your life? Unmute yourself and give me a yay.
Yay.
Well, I hear only one noise. I want more.
Yay.
Yes, that's the spirit. Yes. I am confident that all of you have played your fair share of games in your life and, of course, have some great bristles and bruises in your body, which you are very proud of. And now you, of course, follow your favorite games, be it cricket, football, Formula One, or tennis, because you have grown up, right? Well, you may be wondering what the untold story is with games then. As I mentioned before, you already know about the popular games of today, such as cricket and tennis. But we see that many of our childhood games which we played as a group and enjoyed are not being played by the current generation. And they are stuck with video games and other things, which is, of course, the change in time. But even we are also not playing them. And then they have gradually moved out of the mainstream. And that's why I've taken up the role of a guide today and take you on a nostalgic ride on some of our childhood games and revel in the good old days during this long weekend. Since this is an untold story version, I have an interesting tidbit for you. Although the words sport and games may be used interchangeably, they are totally different. A game involves more than one person and a sport pertains to only an individual's skill and performance. Amazing, right? I'm sure that you can immediately recognize some of the sports and games from this definition. All right, through the meeting today, we will look back at the once popular outdoor games we played and those they were the favorites of us and revel in our collective memories. With that in the back of our mind, let me invite onto the virtual stage our general evaluator, Toastmaster Priya, to introduce the evaluation panel. To give a quick introduction, Toastmaster Priya works as a risk professional at JP Morgan Chase & Co. She is a passionate traveler and a Toastmaster, and she is also a time pass chef. I'm sure all of us have been a time pass chef in the last 1 year. She is currently serving as the Area F3 Director of District 92. Take it away, Toastmaster Priya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Srinivasan, for that lovely introduction and welcome you all once again to the beautiful linkers meet of two different clubs from not only two different areas, but two different divisions who coming together and meeting here. So communication is a process where we not only learn how to speak, but also different aspects of communication. We become better speaker not only by speaking fluently, but also considering multiple factors in our speech: how well we are speaking, being within the time, how well we are speaking without taking help of unnecessary words, how well the language we are utilizing. So with this, I am the general evaluator for today's meeting. I would be helping all of you to be the better version of yourselves while I am learning from all of you when you speak today. To do this general evaluation activity, I cannot do this alone because I have to evaluate the meeting from the very start to the end, and whoever is speaking on the screen, I have to provide evaluation to them to help them to be the better version of themselves. So I have a team with myself called TAG team. T stands for timer, A stands for AhCounter, G stands for Grammarian. So to start with, I would request Toastmaster Hillol to come on screen and help us to understand his roles and responsibilities. Over to you, Toastmaster Hillol.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. So I'm the timer. What is the point of delivering a very beautiful speech when it's very much bloated? You'll see people yawning and people lose interest when you really cross the time. So a good speech is the one where you deliver the content within the stipulated time. And that's exactly what I'll be helping you with in this meeting. I'll be noting down the time you are taking to deliver your speech. And at the end of the meeting, I'll be sharing you the report so you can improve upon it. I have 3 cards with me for prepared speaker. When I flash the green card, it means you have crossed 5 minutes. When I cross the yellow card, it means you have crossed 6 minutes. And when it's red, it means this is the time to wrap up your speech and it's 7 minutes. For table topic speaker, when I flash the green card, it means you have crossed 2 minutes. When I flash the yellow card, it means you have crossed 2 minutes, you have crossed 3 minutes, and when it's red card, it means 3.5 minutes. Okay, so over to Toastmaster Priya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Hillol, for the detailed description. Just to add, for table topic speakers, we have 1 to 2 minutes, where 1 minute he will be showing you green card, 1.5 yellow card, and 2 minutes the red card, the way he is showing right now. And to add, we also have an evaluation segment. So for the evaluator, we have the time limit 2 to 3 minutes. 2 minutes for minimum time range, which where he is going to show you green card, 2.5 minutes yellow card, and 3 minutes red card. After all these cards being shown, you have 30 seconds to wrap up your thought, which is the grace time we are going to get despite of the red card being shown to you. Thank you so much. Let's move ahead to the next person. When we try to speak, we try to take help of multiple words and or sounds, or try to use repetitive words which are our favorite sentences or words, assuming they are going to help us speak fluently. But these are the words or sounds which reduces the impact of our speech. To help us reducing such impactless words, I would request Toastmaster Soumya to come on screen as the AhCounter of the day and help us understand her roles better.
Hi all, good evening. I might not be able to join the videos due to the internet connection. So here the purpose of the AhCounter is to note the words and sounds that are used as crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for the overused words, including and, will, but, so, and, you know. I will also listen for the filler sounds, including and I will also make a note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase such as I or this means, and at the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Soumya, for letting us know the clear description of your roles. She might be in my team, but I support all of you. So I would like to help you all with a tip how to keep her report clean. When you're trying to, when you are being tempted to use the words like or and, try to take a quick pause. I'm sure you will be able to avoid such words. When you're trying to speak, try to split your sentences into small sentences. You will avoid the words like and, you know, so, and many such words which you use just an excuse. With this, I would request to move ahead with the next person, Toastmaster Abhijit, the Charter President of Orators in the Cloud, as the Grammarian of today's meeting. Over to you, Toastmaster Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. A very warm evening to all the orators in the cloud and the AWS Club who's joining us today. It's been a long hiatus since I've been out. I am very, very excited to be back here. about my role today, I am taking up the role of a grammarian. Let me explain the importance of the role through an analogy. Just as a stupendous building can only be built on a strong foundation, similarly, a mastery over language cannot happen without mastery over grammar. It's such an important and key ingredient if you are willing to take the path of becoming a better version of yourself. Now, what exactly I'm going to look for today? I'm going to start with giving you the word of the day, which I would highly encourage you and request you to use in your speech whenever you come in front of the screen to talk. The word of the day is sanguine. It's spelled as Sanguine, sanguine. And the meaning is optimistic or positive, especially in an apparently bad or difficult situation. Talking about difficult situation, we know what we are going through as a country. So an example would be, it is paramount that we all stay sanguine about prospects for the health and welfare of everyone. With that, I would also be closely looking at how you come and express grammar in your sentences. At the end, I will present your report and will offer you an opportunity to improve upon that. With that, good luck to all the speakers today. Back to you, Madam GE.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhijit, for not only letting us know how to add a new word to our vocabulary and how to use that. Thank you so much. I would request everybody to show thumbs up when the word of the day is being used to encourage the support to our fellow members. Here are my tag team. I'm going to come back with my report towards the end of the meeting. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Srinivasan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. Okay, time for me to talk about the first game. Is everyone ready? Yay. Okay, let me share my screen. Since this is going to be about games, I didn't want to have any confusions over the games because the games are called differently in different parts of the country. All right, let me guide you over the games. Let's move on to the first game, Coco. I'm sure everyone has played or watched these games during your school time. Well, to give a small introduction to the game, two teams try to chase down and tag the players of the opposite team to win the game. The chasing team sends out 9 players onto the field who sit in a straight line with alternate players facing opposite sides, like this in the diagram. The chasers have to make sure they catch the runners who enter the field one at a time before time runs out. As I mentioned before, this is played by two teams of 9 players each. I have seen any number of games of Coco during my school time, and as seen here, I have been witness to a lot of acrobatic dives from my classmates, and the runners give a lot of joy by running zigzag around and ensuring that they give a tough time to the chasing team. Well, I am sure most of you have played these games in your life, and I am very proud to say that our school has been the state champion in Coco for 4 years in a row. Now that's one to brag about. All right. With the fond memories of Coco in our games, let us move on to the prepared speech section. Let me introduce you to the speech evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Yogalakshmi, who will talk about the speech and the project objectives. Toastmaster Yogalakshmi belongs to the Resonance Toastmasters. She is an electronics engineer with a master's in optical communications and electronics. Her hobbies are reading books and painting, and she is a proud mother of 2 lovely kids. Toastmaster Yogalakshmi, take it away.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for a lovely introduction. Now, the purpose of this project is for the speaker to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. All the best to the speaker. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Yogalakshmi. All right, time for us to welcome the phenomenal speaker of the day. Today's speaker is Toastmaster Raghava Krishna. When I contacted him today morning to know about his speech, we both were left stunned. Turns out his speech and today's theme is closely related. Amazing, right? And from our conversation, I definitely feel that he is very passionate about this topic and is in a mission mode to influence you all. Without further ado, let me invite the speaker onto the stage. Toastmaster Raghav Krishna, importance of sports and fitness in our life. Importance of sports and fitness in our life. Toastmaster Raghav Krishna.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srinivasan. Welcome everyone to all Toastmasters. Good morning and good evening to all. I'm Raghav and I would be speaking on the topic of importance of sports and fitness in our life. So this is an interesting proverb. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. This is a famous proverb which you would have heard from our childhood. This means that without time of work, the person becomes both boring and bored and boring. We no longer live in a society where we see kids playing in the neighborhoods, playing outdoor games, and also children involving in other games like, as Srinivasan said, Coco or any other games like that. We always see the younger generation more into video games, television, and a couple of other games that is played at home. So how do we bring a change about this? So there was, according to a recent census, which I had gone through, we could see a huge drop in the percentage of students who are opting for sports when they reach the age of 14. This is the age where we see the students no longer take part in sports, but are confined to studies. And also we see some of the parents who always force their children to study at this point of time and discourage them to go out and play. Many might argue that books or study is important than sports, but in reality, sports and books both are an important part of life. They both are the two faces of the same coin. Continuous work will let you get tired, lose focus, and in turn reduce your productivity. But in order to increase your productivity and focus, it is a good part to make a sports activity as a regular play in your daily life. We would have come across some colleges in India where they don't even have a playground. I was one person from such a college. I used to be a hostler where I used to be in my college 5th floor building, and we used to have our classes in the 2nd or 3rd floor. So I was always confined to that particular block or building. And there was, once we come out for a fresh air, or when we get a break between periods, when we come out, there used to be nothing, just one canteen and nothing else. And even if we had to take a stroll outside, we used to go outside the college premises because there was nothing except for buildings there. So that's how some of the colleges have been developed. So this change there should be a change that has to be brought. So this can, only two people can actually work and bring a change to this. One are the parents. One of the parents, they can support their children internally, give a moral boost, and the other part are the colleges and the government. So the colleges and the government feel, mainly the colleges feel that even if a playground is not there, it is not a necessity part of anyone's life. And they feel that unless and until they provide a good infrastructure for the student to study, it no longer matters whether we have a playground or not. And even the government should take a serious decision by ensuring that all the colleges should have a playground and no colleges should be allowed without having a playground. Okay, what about sports as a career? We normally nowadays don't see anyone taking sports as a career. Everyone wants to become either an engineer or a doctor, or take up any other profession other than sports. At least when a student actually comes out and to become a sportsman or sports person, and he's talented in a particular game, we can the parents can at least like support him or give him a boost or support him in the game he wants to play. And also the government can also help in this and actually like boost the a person financially and also support him so that he can actually uh, uh, achieve big in that particular game and represent our country and also stand as a role model for others who would like to take the same profession. In India, we have more than a 1 billion population, but it is a disgrace to see that we are not good at all sports. Have anyone heard about the Indian football team? I seriously, I don't know even a single player from the Indian football team. We're just about cricket everywhere. And even cricket, most of them, we are just audience and they're just like 12 or 12 to 50 players that are actually playing for IPL or yeah, Indian national matches. So in order to like bring a change, so what are the actually advantages or the benefits of sports? Sports actually mentally, it actually stimulates the intellectual development and it increases confidence, it sharpens motor actions, and it also reduces the fear. So there are many aspects of sports that help us. So we should actually make sport as actually a part of a daily life, so that sports actually helps us to stay active and confident, and it helps us to improve emotionally and socially. It would help us in our career. It would having sports and studies in together would actually bring out the whole in the individual, make him more make him more active and diligent in his work. So I would like to end this speech by saying that we should all pledge in order to take a sports activity, take any activity, whatever you want, like whichever game you like. Even it can be walking or any physical activity that will help you stay fit and healthy. For a longer and healthy life, we would require not only to be physically strong, but also mentally and emotionally fit. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Srinivasan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghav, for the inspiring speech. I am sure you are all brimming with energy after hearing the speech and want to run away and play your favorite games. Well, hold on. The next game I'm going to talk about needs you to control your energies. Let me share my screen to talk more about the game. All right. We saw about Coco. Now let's move on to Pandi. This game is also known as Nondi in Tamil Nadu, and I'm sure various other names across India. In this game, the players throw a small object into a numbered spaces of patterns of rectangles marked on the ground. They then hop or jump through the spaces on one or two legs to retrieve the object and come back in the same way. That's the most important part. The opponents generally keep their eyes sharp so that they quickly find out if the player is doing some cheating. I used to play this game with my cousins a lot, and we used this small stone which we used to throw about in a specifically larger area so that we end up in the double rectangles so that we can finally manage to stand in our two legs. It is a really tricky thing to hop on in the initial steps where everywhere we just have one rectangle. All right. I hope you learned a thing or two about the game and also maintaining your balance with this game. I am sure during these tough times, it is also essential to ensure that we maintain balance in our lives as well. See how the games teach us a lot about how to live our lives. Something to think about. Now, let me take you to the next session of our meeting, the table topics. Our table topics master today is Toastmaster Anukriti Gupta. Anukriti is from AWS Toastmasters Club. She has had a fun childhood full of memories filled with playing Coco, Lagori, Dog on the Bone, and many others. I am sure she is ready to start the table topic session and engage us all. Over to you, Toastmaster Anukriti.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Srinivasan, for the intro. So, good afternoon, Toastmasters of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Table topics helps members practice the art of improvisation and also helps us think on our feet. So this helps us develop 4 vital communication skills, which are listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. Since we at Toastmasters try and provide a speaking opportunity to maximum audience members, I would encourage you all to participate. As I promised, this will be entertaining for all the members. So I see first volunteer that we have is Phil for the table topics. And the first, Phil, can you give me a heads up that you're available for?
Hello, yes, I can make myself available.
Okay, great. So Phil, the table topic for you is, 1 second. Okay, a day in my life as a bicycle is your topic. Yeah.
It came as It came as a surprise to me when I woke up with 2 wheels and handlebars. This hadn't happened before, but given that it had, I thought I ought to make the most of it. Now, what kind of bicycle was I, you might ask yourselves? It turns out that I was a mountain bike, recently acquired by my wife and used for a journey up to the local hills. We spent the whole day rolling down hills, pushing back up. Some of these hills are quite steep, and you wouldn't necessarily want to try and pedal all the way up them, even on a mountain bike. Nevertheless, swirling down the narrow gullies, dropping off small rocks, and generally getting into lots of trouble and fun. At the end of the cycle trail, then there's no question I was in an incredible muddy state, all gummed up, rocks and twigs in my gears. And so a good long bath followed locally with a bucket of soapy water, washing down, and a solid oiling. From there, it was back to the shed. And with that, I leave you as the sun goes down.
That was that was great, Phil. That's a very interesting description of how you would describe your life as a bicycle. Yeah, a big round of applause for Phil. It was a very good attempt. I just want to check, am I audible to everyone?
Yeah, we can hear you, Anukriti. Go on.
Okay, great. Thanks, Phil. So next table topic, next volunteer that we have is Sumedh. So Sumedh, can you give me a hands up that you're available? Or... Okay, great. So topic for you, Sumedh, would be the stupidest rule my parents have. It can be in childhood or it can like be still like can be still valid. So yeah, over to you. Over to you, Toastmaster Sumedh.
When I was a younger guy, I'm 24 now. When I was half my age, that is when I was 12, I was put in a convent school, and I came from a non-convent background. So you can guess what kind of atmosphere I came into, right? I wasn't the most disciplined of guys, and it was just tough adapting to a convent style of education. And so what happened was I would just run around through the corridors. I would just make fun of every person I see, pretty much the rowdy kid in the convent. And that was something that no one could actually foresee, because this was just me just being out there. And so what happens what happened was, my parents, they had a meeting with the principal, and uh, they all discussed on what it is that should be done about my discipline in the school. And so they came up with this weird rule that if I was to loiter around in the school anymore and break any of the rules that they already had set up for their students, then I would not be given food for 2 days completely. Although they would never follow it up, but they did. That was a draconian law which was put up in my house early on. Uh, the funny side of this is that I actually did not stop, and for 1 or 2 days they actually tried out not feeding me, and I came back stronger in terms that not only did I not improve on the discipline side of things, but I actually went on drinking water and having some junk food, and also it actually backfired on them. So that was one rule which was perhaps the most stupidest in terms of implementation, in terms of what it was that you wanted to achieve and what was eventually achieved. But all I can say right now, 12 years later, is I have mellowed down a little, and that is what is important. So over the long run, I guess those rules helped. So that's all I have to say on that.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumedh. It kind of sounds harsh, the rule that you had, but good to know that you came out strong from it. So since we have a time constraint, we'll be moving to the last table topic, and we have Shashan Gupta, and the topic for Shashank is, would you rather live without music or live without movies? I just want to repeat the table topic once more. Would you rather live without music or live without movies? So Shashank, give me a hands up if that was clear and you are good to begin.
All right.
Great. Okay. Over to
Thank you. Yeah. So firstly, thank you, Hind, for introducing me here. I'm enjoying this. I have been part of Toastmaster earlier, and this is good too. This is a refreshing, coming back here. So yeah, I'll start. Okay. So the question asked is whether I would prefer to live without music or without movies. For me, it's a no-brainer. I like music. Whenever I'm working, music is generally, is something which is a good music. It is part of my work as well. If there is no music, I cannot work for long hours. Movies, it's like, especially in the last few years, I haven't been impressed with the material which has come out, whether it's a Hindi movie or a Malayalam or a Telugu movie. Even Hollywood movies, they haven't really inspired me, or there are barely 1 or 2 movies in the year which I would look forward to. So for me, music has been the as I said, part and parcel of my life, and I would love to this is a no-brainer for me. That's it. I'm not sure what's the time constraint for the table topic. So I hope I did decent.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shashank. Good to know you're happy to be part of the Toastmasters Club. Thanks for the speech. So that's the end of the table topic section. Over to you, Toastmaster Srinivasan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anukriti, and everyone for the wonderful table topic section. After we play every game, we definitely look back at the game and try to improve ourselves for the next game, because that's what inspires us and that's what motivates us to beat our friends who are the opponents during the games. But here, Now is the time for us to listen to the evaluation panel and hear out and implement the feedback we receive from them. Let me call upon the general evaluator, Toastmaster Priya, to start off the evaluations. Over to you, Toastmaster Priya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Srinivasan. Before I start my evaluation, I would request Toastmaster Hind if there is any specific uh, Google form for the table topic speakers, please launch now while we proceed ahead with the next segment. So I would request.
I'll just post the link on. Yes, it's been posted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Please take a moment and vote for your best table topic speaker. Now I would request Toastmaster Yogalakshmi to come on screen and provide evaluation for the only speaker of today's meeting, Toastmaster Raghava.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Okay, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and your guest, especially Toastmaster Raghava Krishna. It was a fantastic speech, and you had a very attention-grabbing opening with a proverb saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So we all were from the beginning very much interested in the speech because it was a little bit attention-grabbing to us. And what went well is the first one is it had a very attention-grabbing opening. And second one is the speech was well organized with a personal touch. You had a personal story in which you said how you missed the sports in your college days, and so how sports is important in life of everyone. And third one is we had a lot of takeaways as an audience. So our purpose is what we get from your speech. So we had a lot of takeaways, and we could feel the importance of sports, which it has in one's life. And it is a very relatable topic to all of us. And thank you for a very vivid and relatable topic. Now, I would like to give some suggestions on how you can take your speech to the next level. First one is you could work more on, I would recommend like you could work more on the delivery part, a little bit of vocal variety, and wherever you want to emphasize something, so you could raise your tone and say, for example, you were saying like all the colleges should have a playground. So at those places, the tone was a little bit the plain tone. So whenever you want to emphasize on a point, you could raise your tone and make a very expressive face, and you so that will actually make us connect to you more. And the second point is like a few dialogues here and there, a dialogue between a parent and a child where you say, okay, how you miss your sports or something like that. It would have been a garnish in your speech, and it will keep the audience riveted to the speech actually. And the third one is like I felt the conclusion part, no, you could have stressed more on the takeaway parts. So you ended it little bit plain and abruptly, I felt so. So you could have more, you could have laid more importance on the conclusion part. So on the whole, it was a very amazing speech, and we had a lot of takeaways as audience, and you emphasized on the importance of sports, so very relatable. I would like to request you to work on the suggestions, and I enjoyed your speech very well. All the best for your future speeches. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Yoga, for that lovely evaluation. I'm sure each specific advice of yours is going to help Toastmaster Raghava for his next speech and in his Toastmaster journey. I would request everybody to give huge round of applause for both the speaker and the evaluator. Now let's hear from my tag team, starting with Toastmaster Hillol as the timer for today's meeting. Over to you, Toastmaster Hillol.
Thank you, Toastmaster General Evaluator. First of all, congratulations to everybody. This is one of the meeting where we are completely within the time. So this is really good. Big thumbs up. Now coming to individual, most of the people, they have been within their own time limit, which is very good. Just few of the participants have been little bit beyond their time limits. Like the presiding officer Hind, in your first speech, you have taken 3 minutes 20 seconds. You could have compressed a little bit. Next, TMoD, you have been within the time completely, which is really good. General Evaluator Priya, whenever you get a chance to speak, you have always been within the time limit. Good. Speaker Raghav, it's really good that you have taken just 7 minutes 12 seconds. With such a long speech, it's very difficult to keep yourself within the time limit, but you have been able to do that. Just 12 seconds of extra time, which is completely okay. Coming to table topic, the entire table topic was completely within the time limit, which is really good. It just took 12 minutes completely, which is and for individual participants, Phil, you took 1 minute 10 seconds. You could have utilized the entire time that you have been assigned. Coming to Sumedh, you took 2 minute 50 seconds. You could have compressed a little bit. And Shashank, you took 1 minute 5 seconds. Even you could have utilized your time that was left. Again, coming to during the evaluation, general evaluator Priya and first evaluator Yoga, you have given your evaluation well within the time limit. So that's the report from the timer. Over to general evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Hillol. That's the most sanguine way of giving a timing report and letting us know we should be within the time. Thank you so much. Let's move ahead with the AhCounter report. Toastmaster Soumya, over to you for your report.
Thank you, Priya. So the callouts on the number of filler words used by the Toastmasters are, there were close to 170 times was used, and was used like 51 times. And next, was used 26 times. The term well was used 5 times. So was used 7 times. And like was used 10 times, but was used 10 times again. And the words were repeated like close to 52 times by all the Toastmasters. And there were a few other words, they were used like close to 5 times. So my suggestion would be to reduce using the term as much as possible in going forward. Yep. Over to you, Priya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Soumya. It happens when we get more screen time or we are less prepared, we tend to take the help of our arms. Let's try to reduce the usage of such words and let's have a more cleaner report next time when we meet. Now let's move ahead to the Grammarian's report. Toastmaster Abhijit, for your report, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. I was waiting very sanguinely for somebody to use the word sanguine. Thankfully, Toastmaster Priya did that, but unfortunately, it was not with the right context. Unless she really wanted, unless we had a situation where we were doing pretty bad on timing everywhere. Thankfully, we were doing well. But thanks a lot for taking the effort to use that, Priya. I'll quickly go over some of the speakers and quickly tell you some of the things that you did well and some of the things you could have done better. Starting with the SAA, you use the word full-fledged virtual interactions. Thanks a lot. A very rich use of vocabulary there. There were 2 words, starting one that you used, Rishabh, and few others use this 2 words, which are completely unnecessary in the vocabulary, you know, and actually. When you start using that, you just have to take a pause and reflect or maybe analyze later what purpose was it helping you with. Most likely the answer would be nothing. So please be on the watch out for these words. Presiding officer, you use some of the things like it's so amazing, I think you could have said it was so amazing to see. So that was one example. You on the other hand, you used things like barrage of tweets to this tune, ethos to the social media, a lot of very good usage of words. Thanks for doing that. TMoD Srinivasan, most of your speech was very nice, very well filled with the right usage of grammar. Use phrases like stitch the different sections, bristles and bruises, revel in the good old days with the fond memories. A lot of very nice phrases to hear. Thanks for using those in your vocabulary. Quickly coming to some of you who can use a little bit of more practice with grammar. Our speaker today, Toastmaster Raghav, you used a lot of colloquialism in your verbiage today, as well as you also exhibited the fact that you were using a lot of slang usage. I think that could happen when we are used to maybe IMing texting in a lot of very smaller sentences, getting rid of grammar. It's my take. I could be completely wrong. But some of the things like younger generation more into could have been used by younger generation spending most of their time playing. Discourage them to play outside could have been discourage them from playing outside. Continuous work will let you become tired could have been should have been will make you tired. Where they don't have a playground, we are not talking about a person. It should be where the school doesn't have a playground. So some of these things could have been avoided. Overall, everybody did fairly well to use English language in a pretty decent fashion. I would like to leave you with one tip, not trying to, put myself off any pedestal, but at some point of time, I prepared for the GRE exam, which actually required you to study a lot of grammar. I tried to figure out a lot of ways it could help, but the fastest way I figured out was to look at a magazine or a newspaper, not Times of India, some newspaper that is rich in vocabulary, and read it consciously. So the key takeaways, if you want to improve your grammar, just read consciously. And it will definitely help you slowly but surely. With that, it's a wrap on my grammar report. Hopefully, I was able to teach you something. With that, back to Madam GE, Toastmaster Priya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhijit. Lot of takeaways for me personally to learn a lot from your report. Thank you. I would request everybody to unmute and clap as hard as possible for my tag team. Before we start the general evaluation, I would request Toastmaster Hind Mazahir, if you could share the voting link for the entire meeting for the best role player, so that people will take time to vote for their best role player and best speaker. Moving ahead, today the meeting, the Sergeant at Arms opened the meeting with a very smiling note. And it grabbed our attention, though we had technical glitches, but this is very likely to happen in an online mode. So great job, Toastmaster Rishabh, to start the meeting on higher energy and letting us know the rules of an online meeting. Great job, Toastmaster Rishabh. Moving ahead with the presiding officer of today's meeting, he started with a story which motivated all of us and which could made us connect to him, the story he shared today. Great job, Toastmaster Hind. It's great to listen to the presiding officer address in any meeting. I seriously enjoyed that particular part when the presiding officer comes and shares a personal story or a motivating story with the members. One thing if I could suggest, you may want to have a guest introduction or talk a little bit about what is Toastmaster and why we are here today. Thank you so much. Huge round of applause for the presiding officer of today's meeting, Toastmaster Hind. Moving ahead, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Srinivasan. You had the theme which everybody could relate, and I was surprised to see when you not only had the games of modern era, but the regional games like Kho and many other things which made us connected to your story, and you took us back to our memories of our school days. Thank you and kudos to you. And also I would like to appreciate the fact you had mentioned what are the different sections of meeting, and you gave a very quick and brief introduction to each section. Great job, Toastmaster Srinivasan. Moving ahead to the table topic master of today's meeting, Toastmaster Anukriti. I must say you did a great job, as you not only gave us the chance to improve our impromptu speaking skill, but also you made us realize why should you even try the table topics. You mentioned why should somebody try speaking impromptu. You shared such topics which made all the speakers intrigued and they could speak easily on the topics shared by you. Great job. Kudos to you, Toastmaster Anukriti. Now, moving ahead with the table topic speakers, Toastmaster Phil, Toastmaster Sumedh, Toastmaster Shashank. Thank you so much for your wonderful take on the topics shared with you. Though it was impromptu, it was really intriguing and interesting. Thank you so much. With this, overall, a great meeting. Thank you. Please cast your vote. for all the best role players and best auxiliary role players. Thank you so much. Handing over the screen back to the presiding officer of today's meeting, Toastmaster Hind.
Thank you, Madam GE Toastmaster Priya. I really love that entire title, Madam GE Toastmaster Priya. I will give everyone 30 seconds to vote. Both the links are in the chat. Please go ahead and cast your vote if you have not done already. If you are facing any issue with the form, you can send your vote to me in personal chat. I may or may not take that into account. I was kidding, I will take that into account. All right, I see that sufficient votes have been cast to get to a decision. Although if somebody is still in the meeting, have not cast their vote for best table topics, please go ahead and do that because we have a tie over there. You can be the person who decides who wins. And while you do that, I will go ahead and declare our best speaker and best evaluator. For the benefit of everybody in Orators in the Cloud, what we do is every speaker who is not an evaluator of some kind competes for best speaker. So there is TMoD, TTM, SAA, and the speaker. So for today's meeting, the best speakers award goes to the sport lover Toastmaster Srinivasan. And similarly, we have best evaluator where GE, timer, AhCounter, Grammarian, and the evaluator compete. And the best, oh, we have a tie here as well. So if somebody has not cast their vote yet, don't bother because I'm going to declare it anyway. The best evaluator for today is a tie between Toastmaster Abhijit and Toastmaster Priya. Congratulations, both of you. Finally, with drum rolls, we declare the best table topic speaker of today, which is again a tie. So we have two of them. Congratulations, Toastmaster Phil and Shashan. Both of you are the winner of the table topic session today. With that, we have a hard stop at 5:30. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. It was very humbling to see so many faces. It was very humbling to see participation for so many people from so many different clubs. I really appreciate it, and I am eternally grateful. Thank you very much, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye.